My neighbor Olivia told the entire building that I was stalking her, claimed I was following her, taking photos, trying to break into her place. She cried to the cops, cried to the landlord, got a restraining order. And the worst part? People believed her. I almost lost everything. My name is Matt. I'm 32, single, and work from home doing IT consulting. I'm not flashy, not loud, not exactly neighbor of the year material, but I mind my business and keep to myself. Or at least, I did. So let's dive into the story. It started on a Wednesday. I was halfway through fixing some idiot's crashed server when I heard a knock at the door. Not a friendly one either. The kind that makes your stomach clench. I opened it to find two cops, one holding a clipboard, the other already eyeing me like I had a body in the freezer. You, Matt? Depends. Who's asking? And how screwed am I? Apparently very. They handed me a temporary restraining order. Olivia, my neighbor from across the hall, claimed I'd been stalking her. Said I'd been standing outside her door at all hours. I took photos of her through her windows. I followed her to her car. The whole creeper starter pack. My first reaction? Confusion. Second, laughing. Like actually laughed out loud, which didn't help my case, apparently. You think this is funny? One of the cops asked. Only because it's so far from true. It might loop around to comedy again. Didn't matter. They told me to keep 100 feet away from her at all times, which is tough when you share a hallway and park in the same garage. The worst part? I hadn't spoken more than 2 sentences to Olivia since she moved in 6 months ago. She was the overly friendly type at first, lots of eye contact, lots of oversharing, but I kept it polite and distant. There was one weird moment at a building-wide barbecue where she got handsy after a few drinks. I brushed it off, didn't make a scene, just left early and avoided her after that. I guess that was the wrong move. The next day, my boss called. HR had concerns about some anonymous complaints. I got put on unpaid leave while they sorted it out. My building's HOA sent me a letter asking if I'd consider voluntarily terminating my lease. Subtle. Then came the stares. The whispers in the hallway. One neighbor even pulled her kid closer when I walked by, like I was radioactive. Trevor, the landlord, suddenly had a clipboard of bullshit violations taped to my door. Noise complaints, trash violations, unauthorized tools in hallway. Whatever the hell that meant. I tried talking to him once. Big mistake. He acted like he was doing me a favor by not kicking me out immediately. I'm trying to protect the community, he said, smug as hell. From what? A guy who pays rent and keeps to himself. From potential danger. Right? Because nothing screams danger like a dude who plays video games and works in his sweatpants. He shrugged like that meant the case was closed. What pissed me off the most wasn't just the lies. It was how quickly everyone believed them. Nobody asked questions. Nobody gave me the benefit of the doubt. It was like people were just waiting for a reason to paint a target on someone. And hey, I was available. At first, I figured maybe she was confused. Or paranoid. Maybe she thought she saw something she didn't. But the more I thought about it, the more things clicked into place. Her weird behavior after the barbecue, the sudden shift from friendly to hostile, the timing of it all. She wasn't confused. She was deliberate. I tried to request building security footage, but Trevor told me it was incomplete due to system issues. That's convenient. I filed a police report of my own. But let's be real. When it's her word against mine and she's sobbing on cue, I didn't stand a chance. So I stopped playing defense. I went through my own security cam footage. Nothing interesting. But then I remembered something. Olivia had a smart doorbell. She bragged about it once in the elevator. Said it was the best money she ever spent. She also had smart lights, smart locks, and probably a smart fridge that judged her from inside. All that tech. It left digital footprints. I started cataloging dates. Every time she claimed I stood outside her door, I logged it. Every time she said I followed her to her car, I noted the timestamp. I pulled up receipts, phone GPS logs, video calls I was in, and emails I sent. Anything that proved I wasn't even near her. I wasn't doing this just to prove a point. My job was on the line. My name was getting trashed. And if she pulled this off, if a judge believed her, I'd be on a registry I didn't deserve for life. That wasn't happening. I didn't have access to her smart home data yet. Not legally, but I had a plan. I called my cousin Danielle. She's a lawyer, the kind who's usually 3 drinks away from quitting her firm and buying a goat farm. She took one look at the paperwork Olivia filed and said, "She's full of shit, and I'm in." We started drafting a motion to access Olivia's smart home records under discovery, arguing that they were relevant to my defense. It was a long shot, but worth trying. Danielle also advised me to go completely radio silent. No accidental contact, no hallway run-ins, nothing she could twist into harassment. So I basically became a ghost in my own building. I started sleeping at my buddy James's place a few nights a week, moved my car to street parking, set up a motion sensor camera by my own door just in case she tried anything else. It wasn't just about protecting myself. It was about catching her slipping. And trust me, people like Olivia, they always slip. All I had to do was wait and document everything and pray that her house was, in fact, smarter than she was. If you've never had someone accuse you of something disgusting and watch your entire social life implode overnight, I don't recommend it. I was halfway through a six-pack at James's place when I got a text from a friend I'd known since college. "Hey man, I just don't feel comfortable hanging out until you get this cleared up." No call, no question, just ghosted. Same story with 3 others. One of them blocked me outright. I hadn't even been charged with anything, but in their minds, I was already guilty. Olivia didn't just screw with my lease or my job. She made sure I lost the people around me, too. The worst part? She was playing the victim so convincingly. It was like watching a goddamn Oscar reel. Every time I came back to grab more stuff from my place, she somehow timed it, so she was just stepping out. Wide eyes, trembling hands, and one time even dropping her groceries when she saw me. She stood there, staring, like I had just crawled out of her nightmares. I wanted to scream. Or laugh. Or both. Danielle told me to keep it together. She was already working on the court motion to get access to Olivia's smart devices. "The minute you react," she said, "you give her ammo." So I didn't react. Not when Trevor slapped another bullshit warning on my door. Not when a neighbor muttered "freak" as I passed. Not even when someone left a handwritten note on my windshield that said, "Leave before you get arrested." I was so deep in it that I actually started to question myself. That's the mindfuck of false accusations. Even when you know it's a lie, it eats at you. You wonder what people see. If they're watching you, judging your every move. I didn't leave my buddy's place for 3 days at one point because I couldn't deal with the looks. Couldn't deal with the guilt over something I didn't even do. And Olivia? She was thriving. She gave a dramatic speech at the HOA meeting about community safety. Said she was terrified in her own home. Trevor nodded along like she was reciting gospel. I only heard about it later because someone posted the minutes online, and someone else anonymously messaged me the link with, "Dude, this is bad." No shit. But then something interesting happened. Danielle, while prepping for court, dug up something weird. A public photo of Olivia at a wine tasting event. Smiling, laughing, glass in hand. Timestamped 20 minutes after she swore in her statement that she'd been hiding in her apartment, terrified, because I was lurking outside her door. We double-checked it 6 ways. Time, location, everything. It didn't match her claims. Not even close. That's when I knew we were onto something. She wasn't just exaggerating. She was fabricating this shit completely. Then came the first crack in her wall. A text from someone I barely knew in the building. Just said, "Hey, I believe you. She's not who she pretends to be." No name attached. No details. But it was enough. Someone else saw through her. We leaned harder into building the case. Danielle started interviewing former tenants and even reached out to the HOA records. Found out Olivia had filed complaints against 2 other neighbors in the past year. One guy was accused of stealing her mail. Another of verbal intimidation, whatever the hell that means. Both moved out quietly. Pattern much? Still, it wasn't enough. We needed real evidence. And the key was her smart home system. That was the hill we were planning to die on. But we were stuck waiting for the judge's ruling on access. Meanwhile, Olivia kept acting. Full performance mode. She started posting cryptic stories online. Stuff like, "Trust your gut, even when no one else believes you." Or, "Trauma isn't visible, but fear is real." Every post was bait, and her followers ate it up. Sympathy in the comments. So brave. Sending love. Gag me. I started tracking those posts too. Every time she made one, I'd log where I was. What I was doing. GPS logs, timestamps, video calls, you name it. Because when this finally blew up, I wasn't leaving a single crack for her to crawl back through. Then, out of nowhere, another weird message came through. This one from a burner email. "She's done this before. Check the tenant from 4B last year." I didn't recognize the address, but Danielle chased the lead. Turns out, the guy, Leo, left the building after Olivia filed a harassment complaint. No charges were ever filed, but his reputation took a hit, and he bailed. Danielle tracked him down online. She called, gave him the short version of what was happening to me. Leo didn't even hesitate. Same story, different day, he said. I didn't fight back. You should. Now we had something solid, a pattern, a history. Olivia wasn't just pulling a one-time revenge stunt. She was a serial manipulator. We just needed the final nail. At this point, Danielle and I were walking a tightrope. Olivia had no idea we were gathering evidence. No clue that her past was catching up to her. And definitely no idea that her smart home, her pride and joy, might have been quietly logging her every lie in high-def clarity. All I had to do was keep my head down and wait. And if that judge approved our motion, game on. Danielle nearly broke her phone calling me. You're about to find out if she's stupid enough to leave digital footprints, she said. Spoiler, she was. We served the order to Olivia's lawyer the next day. I guess she finally lawyered up once she realized I wasn't just going to roll over and disappear. Her attorney tried to fight it, of course, called it an invasion of privacy, which was hilarious, considering she had zero problem invading my life with lies. But the court sided with us. We got access to her smart doorbell footage, her motion sensor logs, and, the big one, her smart speaker audio history. Apparently, Olivia hadn't turned off voice recording, which meant every single command she gave that device was stored. Every single one. The tech firm sent over the files encrypted. Danielle and I sat in my buddy James's garage and cracked them open like it was Christmas morning. First folder we opened? Doorbell cam video logs. They were labeled by date. We skipped straight to the date she claimed I was standing outside her door for 15 minutes, staring through the peephole. Her words. The footage? Dead air. Nothing but an empty hallway and Olivia herself opening the door at one point, looking around dramatically like she was auditioning for Law and Order, Delusional Unit. We pulled 3 other dates, and she swore I followed her to her car. The motion sensor logs showed no movement at her door during those times. The hallway cams I installed myself backed up. GPS on my phone had me at the grocery store on one of them, at a coffee shop on another. Hell, on one of those dates, I was on a Zoom call with a client for 2 straight hours. I had receipts. She had fiction. But the smoking gun? That was the speaker. Her smart speaker had a habit of recording more than just commands. Background noise, ambient speech, all of it was fair game. On one particular night, she claimed I had knocked repeatedly on her door and run away. Classic stalker move. The speaker recorded her practicing how she'd describe it to the cops. Let that sink in. She was literally in her apartment, pacing back and forth, saying things like, he knocked again. Yeah, maybe say it was 5 times. He ran off before I could open the door. Like she was writing a goddamn script. Another clip had her laughing, while telling someone on the phone that Matt's gonna lose his shit when he finds out I'm serious about this. No idea who she was talking to. Didn't matter. The evidence was brutal. We went through another batch of timestamps she listed in her complaint. Danielle made a spreadsheet cross-referencing them with every log. By the end, it was a joke. Nothing lined up. At all. She hadn't even tried to make her lies consistent. Danielle sent the files to our expert witness, a digital forensics guy she worked with before. He verified everything, signed an affidavit, and prepped a report for court. We added Leo's testimony, too. He was eager to get his piece in. He still had emails and text exchanges from the last time Olivia pulled this stunt. We bundled it all up and filed a response to the restraining order. Our court date got scheduled within a week. Meanwhile, Olivia was still playing her role, walking her dog with sad eyes and loud sighs anytime I passed by, posting vague bullshit online about being a survivor. Her comments were full of the usual suspects telling her how strong she was. I wanted to scream. Trevor, the landlord, caught wind of the subpoena and decided to pretend he was neutral all of a sudden. I hope this clears everything up, he said, like he hadn't tried to force me out of the building 2 weeks ago. Coward. And I still didn't know if he was doing Olivia favors because he believed her or because of something else. That came later. In the meantime, I installed a second camera inside my apartment, aimed at the front door. Just in case. Olivia hadn't made any real moves in a few days, which worried me. Her silence was never a good sign. She was the kind of person who always needed an audience. When she got quiet, it meant she was planning something. But for once, I didn't care. I had ammo. I had receipts. And I had zero sympathy left. The night before the hearing, Danielle and I ran through everything again. She was pacing like a shark in heels, mumbling about case law and privacy statutes. I just sat back and let her go. She wasn't just angry on my behalf. She was pissed that someone thought they could weaponize tech and victimhood this way. It hit a nerve. She looked at me at one point and said, "You know, if we win this, I want you to nail them to the wall. Don't just walk away clean. Make it hurt." Oh, I planned to. And I meant it. I wasn't in this just to save my name anymore. I wanted a public correction. I wanted Olivia exposed. I wanted Trevor held accountable for backing her without question. And I wanted everyone in that building, every neighbor who gave me dirty looks, every so-called friend who bailed, to see how fast they'd turn on the wrong guy. Because Olivia didn't just try to ruin my life. She gave me a reason to burn hers down. With her own voice, her own camera, her own dumbass digital trail. Next stop? Court. If I thought the footage was bad for Olivia, what came next was worse for her and everyone who ever blindly believed her. The court date was still a few days out, but Danielle didn't wait. She wanted to bury Olivia with a pattern of behavior, not just a one-off, oops, I lied moment. So she did what lawyers do best, dug up dirt. Public records, old lease agreements, HOA minutes, even social media deep dives. We were looking for anyone else Olivia might have tried this stunt on. Turns out, Leo wasn't just a fluke. He was victim number 2, that we know of. He sent over an entire folder. Emails to the HOA, texts Olivia sent him before turning on him, and a formal complaint she filed with similar language to the one she used on me. Practically copy-pasted. The allegations were vague and emotional, full of fear, but light on actual facts. She accused Leo of lurking, manipulative energy, and boundary violations. Seriously, manipulative energy? That sounds like she had a tarot card meltdown, not a real threat. Danielle printed everything. She called Leo and asked if he'd testify remotely. He agreed on the spot. But she didn't stop there. She called a buddy of hers who worked for a property management company. Said, "Run Olivia's name. See if she's popped up in any of your complaints." 2 days later, we got a hit. A tenant at her last place, a guy named Marcus, filed a harassment report against her. Claimed she had keyed his car, called his boss anonymously, and spread rumors that he'd been watching her through blinds. Management didn't renew her lease, but it never went to court. So 3 guys. 3 nearly identical stories. 3 lives she tried to burn down. And the kicker? Danielle found out Olivia didn't even own her smart home system. It was part of the unit upgrade, paid for by Trevor, our landlord. That explained why he was so invested in keeping her happy. He installed the setup. She used it to stage her fake evidence. They were tied at the hip. That's when the penny dropped. Trevor wasn't just a dumb landlord caught in the middle. He was sleeping with her. I didn't want to believe it at first. Gross. But Danielle confirmed it after talking to a neighbor who saw Olivia sneaking into Trevor's unit late at night, more than once. Not just once or twice. Regularly. And not for maintenance issues. Unless the plumbing she was servicing was located directly in his pants. It explained a lot. Why Trevor refused to release the security footage. Why did he escalate violations against me that made no sense? Why did he back her at every turn like a goddamn personal bouncer? And now? We had enough to drag him into court, too. Danielle amended our filing to include him, not as a co-defendant, yet, but as a material witness with a massive conflict of interest. She wanted to rattle him. Let him know this wasn't just Olivia's circus anymore. He was part of the freak show. I spent the next 2 days bouncing between anxiety and rage. I couldn't go back to my own apartment without seeing her door. Every time I passed it, I wondered what fresh lie she was planning next. But weirdly, she'd gone quiet. No more posts. No more hallway drama. Just radio silence. Danielle said that usually meant one of 2 things. Either she was preparing for court, or her lawyer told her to shut the hell up. Probably both. I wasn't sleeping much, but I felt sharp. Focused. I was living off caffeine, spite, and the growing need to see her absolutely wrecked in front of a judge. Then came the message that made it all worth it. A neighbor, someone who'd ignored me for weeks, slid a note under my door. No signature, just, "I'm sorry. I believed her. I won't make that mistake again." It didn't fix anything, but it cracked the ice. People were watching now. People were questioning. And when we went to court, It wasn't just about me clearing my name anymore. It was about showing everyone who Olivia really was, and showing how easy it is for someone to weaponize sympathy, tech, and a few crocodile tears if no one's paying attention. I printed out every message, every log, every spreadsheet. I had timelines. I had a GPS history. I had video footage of empty hallways during her alleged incidents. I had her voice literally scripting fake emergencies. I had multiple people from multiple buildings saying she'd done this kind of thing before. Danielle's closing folder was so thick it needed its own backpack. We were armed to the damn teeth, and I was ready to fight back. When I walked into that courtroom, I wasn't some creepy neighbor under suspicion anymore. I was a guy with nothing left to lose and every reason to make sure she never pulled this shit on anyone else again. And Olivia? She had no idea just how dumb her house had been for keeping receipts. Next stop, the takedown. Courtrooms aren't like they show in movies. No dramatic yelling or someone is gasping in the back row. It's mostly long pauses, paper shuffling, and people trying not to look bored. But for me, every second felt like I was holding a lit match over a gas tank. Olivia walked in wearing this beige, church girl sweater and a braid, like she was headed to a PDA meeting, not a courtroom where she was being sued for malicious prosecution. Her lawyer looked like he was 5 minutes from begging the judge to settle early. Mine, Danielle looked like she could eat a witness alive and ask for dessert. First thing, Danielle hit the court with a motion to admit the smart home data. Olivia's lawyer tried to block it, saying it was invasive. The judge practically rolled his eyes. We had a court order. The data was fair game. So game on. Danielle opened with the footage. We started with the basics, motion sensors from Olivia's hallway. She claimed I'd loitered outside her door for hours. The logs showed zero movement. For days. Then came the timestamps from her doorbell camera, supposedly where I was spying on her. Except the camera logs proved she disabled it on days she filed police reports. That's when the judge started paying real attention. But Danielle wasn't done. Next came the audio clips. Oh man. First clip? Olivia is rehearsing her police call, literally saying, "Okay, so I'll say he was there around 10 p. No, wait, maybe 11 sounds creepier." Second clip? Her laughing with someone. We guessed Trevor, and saying, "I swear, they always believe the crying white woman routine." The courtroom didn't gasp, but the silence hit like a slap. Olivia's lawyer turned pale. She went stiff in her seat. Trevor wasn't even in the room, but I hope he felt that burn from wherever he was hiding. Danielle didn't stop. She played more clips, her whispering delete last 20 minutes to the smart speaker after one of her staged meltdowns. Another one where she literally told the device, "Remind me to say he had binoculars." She was giving herself fucking notes on how to lie better. Then Danielle dropped the real bomb, Leo's testimony. He joined via video call. Calm, polite, and totally unshaken. Told the court everything. How Olivia tried to sleep with him, got weird when he refused, and eventually accused him of stalking her. Same cycle. Same smear. He even showed his old restraining order paperwork that got dropped when she ghosted the follow-up hearing. And then we had Marcus. That guy didn't hold back. Said she vandalized his car, made prank calls to his boss, and started sobbing one night in the hallway, claiming he was watching her sleep. Which would have been a neat trick, since their bedrooms weren't even on the same side of the building. Danielle tied it all together. This isn't a misunderstanding. This is a pattern. Ms. Olson leverages gender bias, fake evidence, and sympathy to ruin lives, and she almost succeeded again. Then Olivia's lawyer tried to push back. He said I could have doctored the data. That may be because the devices were malfunctioning. The judge shut that down fast. Said the data was pulled legally, independently verified, and matched other sources. That's not a defense, he said. That's a theory without merit. Olivia started crying then. Not the cute, sniffly kind. The ugly, hiccuping, mascara-running kind. She mumbled something about feeling threatened and misunderstood, but no one bought it. The court wasn't falling for the same playbook she used on everyone else. And Trevor? When he got subpoenaed, he didn't even show. Sent in a letter claiming irrelevant involvement. The judge was not amused. Danielle filed a separate complaint to get his real estate license reviewed. That's still pending. The verdict came back fast. The restraining order against me? Dismissed with prejudice. My name? Cleared. Olivia? Found liable for defamation, emotional distress, and malicious prosecution. The judge ordered her to pay damages, plus legal fees. Danielle smiled like a shark in a buffet line. After court, people started whispering in the hallway. One of Olivia's little flying monkeys, this woman who used to glare at me by the mailboxes, walked past and muttered, "I'm sorry." I didn't even acknowledge it. Too little, too late. Back home, I passed her door. Still closed. Still quiet. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like I was walking through a war zone. Later that night, my smart speaker lit up randomly. I froze. Then it said, "Reminder set for Olivia, ruin Matt." Reminder missed. I laughed harder than I had in months. She tried to ruin me with tech. And in the end, her own system, her voice, her lies, her fucking smart home, did her in. All I had to do was point it in the right direction and let it talk. I didn't just win. I made sure she'd never pull that shit again. And if she tries, she'd better pray her next smart speaker doesn't snitch, too.